Everybody, Josh and Jay back with the podcast. America is Blue. Not always easy to do these when we're continuing with the bad results, but here we are. Our predictions were wrong, but the outcome was not. Unfortunately, we're sitting seventh right now. A big loss today in the London Derby to a unfortunately superior Arsenal side today. Jay, per usual, you get the first word around here. What were your initial thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it sucks after a loss, particularly against Arsenal. I can't complain that much. I mean, I do have a few gripes that I'm sure we'll get into. I thought we had the right approach. I thought we played well up against superior competition. So this is a tough pill to swallow, and it's, we're not sitting on the tables exactly where we want to be, but as far as the effort and the intensity and the passion that we came out with, I'm happy with the way that the boys played today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily a lack in effort. It was definitely a superior side that has a lot of cohesion. And I think it was Mikel Arteta's 150th match in charge. He's got his guys in there. They're playing his brand of football. This was a tough one to watch in the sense that, it's hard to see us so far off the pace. I think that we did have, good solid effort and we hung in there. But as you're looking down, just getting into the lineups first, going with the back four, I think was obviously the only choice. But we were set up a little bit more the way that you thought that we'd be set up. I wanted to see Kovacic in there from the start, or a Conor Gallagher, I guess. But we were second best in the midfield. They were much better in closed quarters and quick passing than us, and it was tough from the jump. I mean, right out of the chute, you get the poor foul by Marc Cucurella, and we're on the back foot right away.
I mean,
thank God they wasted that opportunity.
This is what was going to happen. I mean, we said this in the preview. They were going to put a lot of pressure on. They're much better, like you said. They're much better in short spaces. They have a lot more fluidity within their game. They're far more attacking. We needed to muck this game up. We needed to make this ugly. We needed to play physical, and we did that. We needed to absorb pressure early on and throughout the game. And what we really need to do was to take advantage of the few opportunities we knew we were going to have. So this is like a very similar game plan going into what we did in the Champions League final against City. We knew they were going to dominate possession. We knew that they were going to create the majority of the chances. But when the time was right for us to strike, we needed to be there, and that's where we faltered. And it kind of rests on one guy, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, there were a couple of opportunities, and some unforced errors, by us. I think in a lot of opportunities we were just one pass away. There were some opportunities that were squandered, but us giving up the bad fouls early. I mean, to your point, we kind of had to put a mark down about things being physical, making sure that not everything is going to be easy. But it just seemed like we were truly second best in a lot of those situations. I did think a lot of the fouls were a little bit soft, but that was just unfortunately the way that the calls were going for us today. But to our credit, we did avoid the early goal, which I thought was going to be our demise. I thought that we were going to give one up early, and it was going to be a really tough day. It really was good to see that we were able to show some intestinal fortitude and fight and stick with them. But not a whole lot to talk about from our perspective positively in the first half.
I disagree. I loved the intensity that I saw and the organization I saw out of our back four. I thought all guys along the back line played excellent today. The goal was not their fault. I thought that they did everything they needed to do up against a very high octane attack. So I was happy with that. I thought Jorginho played a measured game. We did get beat up in the midfield. I don't put that on him. He provided a lot of help and cover for our right back and our left back. It's exactly what we needed. Ruben Loftus-Cheek left a lot to be desired. He was invisible for almost the entire game, gave it away, was getting nudged off the ball, and beside that one run, he just wasn't there. So going back to what you mentioned
which
earlier,
he ultimately could have done more with.
He had to just keep going. Just keep on pressing. Maybe you get a better foul. Maybe you get closer to the box. Maybe who knows what you could do with it. But he was very disappointing for me today. I'm assuming that we're managing minutes with Kovacic. Otherwise, I would have much rather had him in there because I think he would have created a lot more as we were trying to counter and move forward. We needed somebody who is what Ruben does. He's good as a marauding, just freight train going forward, and he just never did it. We could have gotten that from Kovacic and probably would have had a little bit more creativity from his passing as well.
Well, and the injury, it definitely, to your point that they're probably managing minutes, but in this situation, I would have rather seen Kova if he could have made it 60, have him on first for the first 60, and then bring on Ruben towards the end of the game. That's just me. But I really think that was the thing that we were needing because Kova is such an underrated dribbler. He's gotten a lot more appreciation, but he's the guy that will take the ball at midfield, turn and face, make a guy miss, and then, break the lines and start to get, forward. We couldn't find that extra pass today or that creative dribble that was going to get us, to the next level. And that was really unfortunate. There were some positives in the first half. Mendy pulled that one beautiful ball out of the bag and hit Raheem Sterling in stride, which I thought was going to be another good chance, but at least we were showing signs of life. I guess, maybe my earlier comment was a little bit harsh about our lack in the first half, but and I also saw Raheem getting caught out dribbling a lot because of the lack of outlets and, the high pressing. He got caught out 3 or 4 times. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, it's hard to blame him because there was just no one for him to pass the ball.
He was throwing his hands up left and right. He's like, all right, but now we have this chance. We're coiled up. We're playing compact. We've had a release out to him, and he's just looking around. He's like, where is everybody? And you don't need a tremendous amount of numbers flooding forward. But what you did need was my target man today, unfortunately, is going to be Kai Havertz. But you needed Kai and you needed Aubameyang to be working better together with their runs. He was just looking for somebody to go to, and we had the opportunities, but those guys were just kind of standing around looking for it. He didn't have anything to do with the ball. So I love the energy of almost everybody that was out there today, and I think this really falls on 1 or 2 people that could have turned the tides for us if they had taken advantage of those few critical moments instead of squandering them.
Kai, this was a tough performance for him today. It was bad. He definitely squandered a couple of opportunities. He had the opportunity for the cross for Aubameyang that was completely squandered. We got the ball out on the break, and instead of taking something first time or really taking the guy on, next thing you know, he's standing up and there's 4 defenders back behind the ball, and it's another missed opportunity. That's why, again, I don't think we're being adventurous enough. Kai, if you hit that first time and you scuff it, then okay. But it's also, where is your thirst? Is your thirst to create or is your thirst to score? And I think in a situation like that, your thirst always has to be to score. And just make the keeper work, especially when they're dominating possession. What better way to show danger than to make the goalkeeper work?
I just think we need more consistent and better quality out of him, and we know he has it, right? Maybe he isn't this dynamic guy with the ball between his feet as far as making somebody miss or being able to get by them. He tends to be rubbed off the ball easily and quite a lot. But I need to see, at those critical moments, there was the horrible cross to Aubameyang. I don't know if he was trying to shoot that or pass that or what that was. Whatever his decision was, it was poorly executed. Then he had another opportunity only a couple of minutes later where I don't know if he would have been able to get the ball through the defender, but he had Mount just sitting there, no one around him. All he had to do was just square that ball off, and we get an opportunity on goal. He had a couple more opportunities where he was the lone man going up against a single defender and posed no real threat. And then lastly, on the goal, he just whiffs. It's right at your feet. He just whiffs at the ball. Then everybody else is trying to react. It looked like that ball went through just a sea of arms and legs, all blue arms and legs. And then it falls down and, and Gabriel's able to bang it in. But you're the first man. You're the first man. You have to clear that. And so, unfortunately, I think a lot of what happened today, whether we were going to come out with a draw potentially, whether we were going to have an opportunity to go ahead with one of these opportunities and then put pressure on Arsenal, turn the tides a little bit, I think a lot of this, unfortunately, falls on Kai.
It really is, and no one said anything about it on television. No one said anything about it like during the game. I was like, what do you mean? Like the answer is Kai Havertz. That's the answer. And I mean, it just continues to make
frustrating.
His time with us so polarizing and so frustrating because, some of the finishes he's had, obviously we know we've seen the goals, not often enough, but there's these flashes of brilliance just followed by these absolute duds. And it's so disappointing. He's so imposing. I've said this before, he's so important on corners because he's such a big guy and he is a great header of the ball. And just to have those type of performances. And again, this is Arsenal. This is at home. This is in the Premier League. And it was just terrible. And it's so frustrating, especially after you dodge all those bullets and you come out and it's again, like doing the plays you should make, you got to make them. That's a you got to make it play. And then again, on the live broadcast, they're like, "Oh, went through a sea of bodies. How did that go?" No, Kai Havertz completely missed the ball. Is what happened.
What are the same corners? Like you have to beat the first guy. You got to get the ball past it. Kai Havertz is the first guy. He kicks it right at his legs. He's right there. All he had to do is make any form of contact. We're still at 0-0. Play on. Let's see what happens.
Send it out for another corner.
It was a huge brain fart. And yet, these are the games, man. Like you're in a London derby. We're slipping down the table. Both teams want it. Arsenal wants to stay on top of the league. We need to find our form and start to get some grounding. Try to get some results before the World Cup. You want your stars and your guys to step up in situations like this and not just succumb to I don't know if this is even the pressure that got to him. I don't think so. I think this is just another one of those sleepy Rip Van Winkle moments of his, and I just don't understand it. So anyway, I don't want to beat him up too bad, but I expected more from him, and I was happy to see him on the team sheet. But after what we were seeing in the first half, even before the goal, I was begging for your boy. I was like, we need a guy who can run. We need a guy who's going to be able to break the press and run with the ball at his feet. I'm like, would Pulisic have done a little bit better in those situations? He's shown it before. If he was healthy, I would have much rather had him in there after about the 25, 30-minute mark.
Everybody, well, I mean, that would have been early, but I could have made the change at halftime. And I know everybody loves to dunk on CP and take their shots at him. But when he did come in, he was creating little things. He actually set Cucurella loose on that one play up the sideline. He was pinned in, gave him a nice little back ball. Yeah. Cuca scooped it up and was able to create again. But he's not getting run outs because people can say whatever they want, but at least his intent is attacking. And there's nothing confusing about that. So again, and I think that he could really actually interchange very well with Raheem Sterling and Mason Mount, and they haven't had the opportunity to play in that sort of combination. So, and when you think about it, a lot of our great success has been with Mason Mount and Christian Pulisic on the pitch at the same time. But we just haven't got that. And Mace put in a shift. I will say that, like, the dude was freaking running everywhere.
Energizer Bunny.
He's really strong. He's super competitive. He's got a real FU attitude out there to the opponents, which I absolutely love. I like that. I think that's a real underrated feature about Mace is that, what a handsome young man he is, but boy, like he's a killer, man. He
doesn't take any shit.
He really is a top level competitor. I totally respect that about him. And even when things are not going his way, his work rate is always like second to none. The dude never stops running. So, nothing but love and respect for, the shift that he put in. Unfortunately we couldn't get, the funny thing was too, I put notes down because they were bringing Broja on, And because they said they're breaking an attack and change, I was like, oh, they're going to bring Broja on for Havertz. And then the corner happens and Kai whiffs goal and then he's off. And then Gallagher was also on right after because initially it was just Broja. And then they're like, oh, well, we got to get Connor on here too now that we're down a goal. But I think Broja could have been a real difference maker in a different circumstance. In a 0-0 game, I think he's exactly the dude that you want up there mucking it up, getting really physical, pushing guys around. And he again got caught out with just no outlets, nowhere to go. He was working his butt off and then, was just getting caught up between 3 or 4 guys because he had no outlets.
Yeah, I liked what I was seeing. I don't know how many chances were created, but I liked what I was seeing a little bit more after we made the changes. Connor was bringing some energy. I thought Broja, again, he was trying to be that talisman up front, right? He was playing strong. He was trying to make good runs. I liked a lot more of what I saw with our fluidity in that second half. And I think you're right. I think if the circumstances of the game were different and then we had those change-ups to be able to bring in, that would have been very helpful in a 0-0 game. And maybe it would have turned the tide
100%.
for us. So unfortunate, man. There was an opportunity today to do something that would have been really great for all of us to experience. Just couldn't get it done. We squandered the opportunities early, and then we didn't have many after that. And listen, I hate saying this. Everybody knows how much I hate Arsenal. I also have to give it up to them. I thought their back line was great. I thought they played a great game. They did exactly what they needed to do up against a team that was trying to muck up their style. So I got to give them some credit, particularly their back line, man. Those guys are good.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal is good.
Yeah.
And I can tell, I don't hate them as much as you do because especially in the past 5 years, they haven't finished in the top 4 in the past, for 5 years. And the last time that they did, it was, I think they mentioned it was like the Leicester season, like 2016 or something like that. I mean, it's been a long time. And, so I've, they're a little bit of the little brother right now to us, especially in recent times. And I can tell that I'm bothered by them now because it makes me want to feel petty. Like, I just want to say, we've been European champs twice. You guys will never do that. We have more Premier League titles than you. The different things like that, because, Arsenal fans, there is definitely a snootiness, especially to Chelsea fans in particular. Tottenham is a completely different conversation in terms of the London hierarchy, but it does remain true that Chelsea is the only football club from London that has ever lifted the European trophy, and that's twice.
Yeah, they over the last 10 years, while we've been really focused on the sport, there just always comes with this sense of entitlement with that team. They always elevate their own image more so than they ever deserve. And listen, they're very good right now, but they also they still have that air about them. So between that and Arsene Wenger's hair, I can't stand them. I don't know if I'll ever be able to stand them. And at the same time, I can also appreciate the product that they're putting out on the field because I do think that they're very good at the moment.
Oh, I mean, and they are. That's undeniable. Absolutely. All I'm saying is now I think I hate him too.
Yeah,
definitely not as much as you do. But I mean, it's just like now I hate him. I didn't like seeing. I don't particularly care for Mikel Arteta's antics like all the time because it's like, dude, it can't be every single challenge.
Yeah.
Like, can you save it like a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, that rubs me the wrong way. And I've never liked Gabriel Jesus. For the record, I don't like him.
How does he do that with his eyebrows? He looks sad all the time. I don't understand.
I don't care about his eyebrows. I think he flops too much. Everything's so soft. He's just always hurting. And of course, he's the guy who he's half dead, and then he manages to rise to his feet for the free kick, and then he's running like a gazelle, like literally moments after his back was just broken. I mean, he's like Wolverine healing in real time. So I mean, I don't like that guy. So Gabriel Jesus, if you ever end up in a blue shirt, I, for the record, said that I didn't like you.
Yeah, he likes the drama. That's okay though. All right.
All
Good
right.
rant. Good
So
rant. Glad we got that off our
no, no, no.
chest. We
Sorry
needed
about
that.
that.
A little
No,
bit of
sorry about
therapy.
that. Sorry about that. All right. So unfortunately, we'll move into the thoughts on man of the match, which in this instance is, as always, brought to you by All Out Fitness. And at All Out Fitness, they're inspiring others to be their best selves. So, Jay, who is the best version of themselves
I said,
today?
even if somebody from Arsenal scored a hat trick or did something just wildly exceptional, I was not giving it to any one of them. Just can't do it. Not in my blood. I'm going to give this one to Mark Cucurella. I'm giving it to Mark, and here's why. I've been very tough on him. I've been critical of him. I've always mentioned in the same vein that him playing in an unnatural position was unfair to him, but he obviously did not adjust or compensate to playing that role well at all. Right? He's been really disappointing. I loved what I saw from him today. You know, his confidence may have been, who knows, maybe his confidence was a little shaken. He's getting a lot of heat. He's forced into action. And I loved the energy and the passion I saw from the guy. I liked the fact that he was playing physical. I don't mind the fouls because he was trying to chop these guys down. So as a rebound performance for Mark Cucurella, I'm just giving it to him because there's probably a lot of guys on the back line I would have liked to have given this to. Probably could have given it to Mason also just for the effort and the energy that he brought, but just under the circumstances and what he may have been dealing with mentally and from a confidence standpoint, I really liked what I saw from Mark today.
Well, I mean, that's very nice. I mean, I definitely disagree. I am in my own smug personal way also giving it to one of the members of the back line. I really disagree, though. I mean, Kook was I understand what you're saying about the fouls. I just don't agree with the position that he gave away some of these fouls, which again did seem a little bit soft. You know, a couple of them, you know, kind of went against him. But the positioning of those fouls, I was frustrating me as I was watching. And I'm giving my man of the match to Thiago Silva, who had to bail Mark Cucurella out a couple times because a couple of those headers that he saved on some dangerous balls in. He had a huge block against Gabriel Jesus. Of course, he's always in the right place. He had a half a chance on one of those corners when he got pushed by Thomas Partey. He was looking for
Yep.
a call there, but I think he played exceptional again. Where would we be without him in the grand scheme of things?
Yep.
I think it could have been a lot worse if we didn't have him out there. And again, like he was actually thrown off by the Kai whiff be, be, because what the ball bounced and he was like, how did this even
Why would you
bounce?
ever expect that
Like,
ball to reach you?
it,
In what
it
world?
was it was really unfortunate. So I'm gonna give mine to
That's
Thiago
fair.
Silva.
Again, I could have given it to anybody on the back line. I thought they all played great. That's definitely a fair choice.
Yeah. So, as we're going into our next game, it was great to see that we showed a little bit of fight out there. That we did show a little stick to itiveness at the end of the game. I don't want to diminish the spirits, but we certainly have a lot of work to do in the Premier League, and we have a lot to do because we're still competing on a lot of different fronts. We've got our matchup with City coming up next. It's really going to be interesting to see again more squad rotation. You know that they're going to have heavy squad rotation for these cup ties. Um, you know, we'll definitely have to chat about that a little bit later on this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Great Reset. If we can get some points away from the Newcastle game, I think that would be a nice way to close this chapter of the season. Go into the World Cup break, see who can come back healthy, give Graham Potter time to work with the team and work with the staff and figure things out. We're going to need a big post World Cup component of the season. All right, we're not sitting where we need to be sitting, and obviously, I think top four is what we need to be aiming for right now. So we need to get back on pace. We'll have time to do it.
No, it is. It's tough, and I'll tell you what. After the game, and I was starting to kind of go through some notes and looking at some stuff. It's not as bad as 2015, but we've kind of seen this movie before. tons of injuries, coming off, some success, a tough time bringing in a lot of new players, a new manager. 2015, finishing 10th, out of Europe altogether. And then you come back and you win the Premier League title the next season. And I'm not saying that we're in that sort of position, but the Premier League is a rough and dangerous place. And if we don't get, a healthy Reece James back, we don't know what's going to happen with Ben Chilwell, the back line. These are not small components, and this is a very, very competitive league. So, obviously the Great Reset in the World Cup is going to be the ultimate equalizer to see, how many bodies can emerge healthy from all these different teams throughout Europe. And, may the most deep squad win.
With you on that one.
All right.
All right.
Well, all right, everybody. We certainly appreciate the time. We appreciate the support here at America is Blue. We'll definitely talk to you guys next week, break down the next match. And till next time, we appreciate it.